Hello. It is like oddly dark in my room, but weirdly bright in this video. Like, the light is really kind of bothering me, and I don't know how to fix it because I'm filming, ooh, that was a little better, on a fucking iPad. Because I don't have a real video camera yet. So, that's what's up with that. I know I haven't made a video in forever, and I'm really sorry about that. It's been rough. It's been really rough. I'm gonna keep poking it. I covered the window. Like, I've done everything in my power to make it not as weird and ungodly bright in here, and it's still not doing what I want it to do. So that's what that is. I wanted to talk about my experience at Del Arte because I know I made a video right before everything started and then said, like, maybe everything, like, I'd give everyone an update, but, like, ended up being entirely too busy for that to happen. And when I wasn't in class or at rehearsal, I was sleeping because my body was exhausted because it's so physically involved. And now I feel bad because it's been like 2 weeks and I haven't been doing all of that exercise, and I can like feel it coming off of me, and I don't know what to do about it. But it is because I work 40 hours or more a week on a shaved ice truck, and that is a very exhausting job actually. So then when I'm not at work, I don't want to do anything, and it's a problem. But I'm trying to get better about it. I think when school starts, I have a lot of days free. Yeah, I'm going to be working on a thesis and stuff, but I'm going to try to make it a priority. So here we go. So, Del Arte. After hanging around in Blue Lake for the rest of the weekend after I flew in, class started, and I immediately realized that it was nothing like what I had expected it like to be, and I think that that was a good thing. So because I'm a grad student, I've been really into like my research, and like everybody's asking me like figure out your methods and like what you're gonna do and all this like stressful stuff, right? And that's, you know, typical of grad school. But because of that, I go into this thinking like, yes, I am going to have a method and people are gonna tell me what to do and it's gonna be awesome. And it was immediately not like that at all. The first thing they said was that like, we don't want to like tell you how to devise or how to work with other people. And immediately I freaked out because I do have to do a thesis in devising. Okay, fuck the light. Because I do have to do a thesis in devising, and I wanted maybe some methods that I could cite for my framing paper, but that wasn't gonna happen. So that was interesting, but I think it's one of those things where you can only learn about it by doing it. And so that ended up being a good thing. So the first immediate thing that I learned is that it is really hard to work with other people. And yeah, I think that's true of like any, you know, profession, but like especially in the arts, right? Because everybody has their own idea of what they want to happen, and everybody, especially in this case, comes from so many different backgrounds, and they didn't give us like a lot of icebreakers, right? We kind of just like jumped right into like doing exercises and making stuff, and there wasn't a lot of downtime to get to know people, especially the first couple days. So you're basically just like thrown in a room with all of these people that you don't know, and you don't know their artistic backgrounds, and you don't know why they're there or where they've come from or how much devising they've done or how much like physical theater and mask work and anything else they've done. You have no idea, and you have to figure that out and make a piece with them for Friday's performance lab. But that's like a good challenge. Like, I think it's good to be challenged like that because you learn a lot about yourself in that process, actually. And I learned that I'm very introverted. This is not a surprise, but it just definitely reaffirmed that for me, that like I need to take my time to get to know people. And it wasn't until like week 3 when I was finally like stepping out of my comfort zone, and that's when everybody was leaving. It was like 2 days before everyone left is when I felt comfortable with humans. So that's me. It's hard to work with people. That was the first thing I learned. I have notes here of everything else that I'm doing. You also learn going to a different part of the country, and I'm sure this is true of different parts of the world too, but I haven't been out of the country, unfortunately. But the next thing that you learn is where you are in the world and where you come from. I have never been out of the country further west than Chicago. So I've been deeply ingrained in the Midwest for my entire life, and I so learned what that meant because I didn't know before. I thought like the Midwest was like normal America because that's like normal America to me, but there really is no such thing as normal, right? It's just different people's experiences that over time make them normal. Well, so I didn't know that the Midwest is considered humid, and people in the South will probably laugh about that. But when I went to California for 3 weeks, the air was so crisp and dry, and like it felt clean. It felt clean. Like there wasn't this constant heaviness that you get when you're in Ohio, and that might be also because everyone's depressed because there's nothing to do here. But you don't get that, the humidity, the weight in the air. And when I came back, I remember walking out of the airport and I was like, oh, the air is heavy. But because of that, I think I actually connected to where I am even more, coming out of that, having traveled so far, because I realized that my circumstances, my living circumstances, have shaped a lot of my personality. I was driving there, I think I told this story in the other video, but I was driving there and the lady in the van that was taking me to Del Arte was like, oh, like, yeah, we have the redwoods and the mountains and the ocean. What do you have in Ohio? And I was like, corn? Soybeans? I didn't think there was a lot in the Midwest, and there's not, but it's very suburban, but there's a lot of corn. There's a lot of corn. And you know what? Not a lot of other places have a lot of corn. Thought it was pretty cool that people could just kind of like grow peaches and plums and whatever else, like apples and cherries on all these trees, like everywhere. This little hippie town had like everybody was growing their own kind of like fruits and vegetables, and it was so cool to be immersed in that. And speaking of being immersed in the culture of the hippie town, I got to be in a parade, which was super, super cool. And as I was prepping for that, like I wasn't ready, they said like dress in some like weird or funny way with like an alter ego or like a character that pleases you in some way. And of course I had only packed studio clothes because I wasn't expecting to be in a festival parade here, but I was. They have a parade called the Annie and Mary Day Parade. I don't know who Annie or Mary are, but they seem very important to the people of Blue Lake. So they invited us to be in this parade because we are, you know, members of the Del Arte family now, as they say. And it was really cool. It was really special, and it reaffirmed for me, like, what I want to do with my life. I kind of just had this moment where I felt like I was in a different time period, and it was suddenly the 1500s, and I was a court jester, you know, romping down the streets with my little bell hats. That was strange, but I have a lot of strange moments like that. But that's okay. But what I took from that was that the theater that they do is deeply connected to community. And I think that's really cool. I think that places should be acknowledging like where they are and what about them makes them unique. Kind of like I was just talking about the Midwest. There is this huge culture, I feel like, in the Midwest in Ohio to like want to fucking leave. And while I totally agree with that, and I definitely want to leave Ohio in the near future, I also think that there are kind of like cute little quaint things about this weird wasteland wilderness that you don't really get anywhere else. For example, our grass is green. The grass in California is very, very dead and dry And someone literally asked me, wait, so is it green there? And I really didn't know what that meant. And that's when I realized that I am a river person whose grass is actually greener. That's to say nothing about a lot of the political affiliations of the place that I come from, but that's a separate issue. We have some nice corn. We have some nice soybeans. I grew up next to a theme park. That's pretty neat. What else did I learn? I have to pull out my notes because I can't think today, and I'm sorry that I can't, but it's okay. I saw a super, super neat devised piece by one of the graduate students there, and it was called Eli and the Bear, and one of our teachers was actually in it, and I didn't realize that this grad student who had showed us the whole facilities was one of the main characters until like halfway through the performance. Like, she was that good. She was playing like a teenage boy, and like her voice, her mannerisms, everything about her changed. And like that's what I think theater should be. Like, everyone like looks at like Nick Cage and like, oh, that's Nick Cage in another movie. And he's a very special case. But like people think like Hugh Jackman, oh, there's Hugh Jackman in a movie. But like, it's so cool to see an actor not be there anymore, right? And that happened, and I was just sitting there, and this play was like kind of weird, and a lot of people didn't really understand what was going on. And I mean, fair, but I got it, and it was really short too. It was only maybe like a 45-minute piece. But I was just sitting there, and I was like, it was so weird, but it was also so magical because they had this part where like the lights were fireflies and like all this just different elements of magic in it, and I was like, this is what I want to do. This is the kind of like weird theater that you almost can't put your tongue on like what it is. Like, that's what I strive for in all of my art, is like to be in that place where you can't really describe what you're seeing, but you connect to it anyway. And I felt that with this piece, and I was like, yes, this is what I want to be doing. So that was really neat, and I really, really appreciated that. And I just want to give a shout out to Eli and the Bear. So I think they went to LA actually and did a performance at a theater after they were done at Del Arte, which was really, really neat. So good on them. They'll probably never watch this video, but I appreciated it, and I wanted to give a promo to them. I'm looking through my notes again. Let's see. Oh, the acrobatics thing. So I knew that Del Arte did acrobatics and those kind of things, and I figured it has something to do with the clowning, which, by the way, I think a clown is a very good thing to be. Clowns can be scary, but if the clown looks more like a person and not like a demon, then clowns are good. I think clowns are good. I have nothing against clowns, except those clowns that were running around with knives like in 2017. 2016? I don't know. Whenever the clown knife thing happened, that was scary. Oh, acrobatics. I was one of those kids who always got hit in the head all the time with soccer balls, with basketballs, basically anything. If there was any sport, I would be injured. And so I, over my life, had developed this fear of physical activity. It also had to do with, like, you know, those awkward preteen years when you're insecure about your body. Yeah, that was like me in gym class constantly, and it made me feel super not okay about physical work. And so I was actually kind of nervous about that. But I learned how to do handstands, and I'm not good at them. I can't get myself up by myself, but like I can go against a wall, and like I've never done that before, but like being upside down like that and like rolling around and doing all these like athletic things was freeing to me because I had spent so long closing my body off and protecting my body. I think especially because of these on my face, because I've grown up with glasses. I I have an eye disorder, so I've had a ton of surgery in my eyes, so my whole face and neck area, I hold a lot of tension in my neck, so like my whole face and neck area are places that I guard. And you have to release those areas of your body to do roles and to do acrobatics. Like, you have to be free. But it was so fun. I really grown, and I'm not saying that I'm not good at anything yet, but I want to work on it. I want to be able to have fun in my own body, like to move and dance around, because it's something that I've never been able to do. So that was really cool to be able to do that, and I am really thankful for them. I'm one of those actors and one of those people, honestly, who holds their breath a lot when they act or talk or do anything. I'm actually still short of breath right now, but I think it's a lot better than it has been in the past. But Del Arte kind of takes a whole week where you just do breathing, basically, and everything, and you have to focus on your breath. So I feel more connected to my body and my breath, and I think that that's really great. And the reason that they do all of that physical work and the training and the acrobatics is because of the mask work. And mask is something that I've always been interested in, but I went to Del Arte more for the devising, playing body experience than I did for the mask work, but the mask stuff ended up being the coolest thing there. We only got a week with masks, doing masks, but the first couple days we didn't put on actual masks at all. One of the most distinct things I remember is that we got these like giant sacks, right? And you just went in the sack and you had to move your body and shape it into interesting forms and make these creatures. And you can do that. It is so crazy how the human brain like wants to relate with objects. But those are very physically demanding things. Like, I had one where I was like up here and I was holding like an 8-pound something in my hand while I'm contorted like this. I don't know. But that's why they train, is because you have to be physically kind of like able to do those things. And it's not like, oh yes, you have to be X amount of pounds and be able to lift this much, but you need to be able to treat like your body right. And that's what I like about it, is that there's not pressure to be thin or skinny or do all these weights. They don't do that. That's not their game. Their game is opening up your own body as it is right now so that you can make the most of it. So I didn't feel pressure to like get fit or get active. It was more like, I want to try that because I want to see what my body can do. And I don't know if everyone had the same experience, but that's the experience I had. So the acrobatics, they view it as a mask, which I think is really cool because it demands that you do certain things, that you move your muscles in a certain way. And that's the same thing that a mask does, actually, because if you put on a mask, if you cover your face with something, people can't read your facial expressions anymore, so then your whole body has to kind of tell the story and tell the emotion. And it can be uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable, and that's why you have to train to be able to do it. But it was even though it was uncomfortable, it pushed me like so way far out of like my teeny little comfort zone that it was really, really freeing, and I'm really glad that I went. And now that I'm back, I am super ready to see how this ends up applying to me in the long term. So we'll see how it goes. You know, I'm going to be starting up all of my thesis work again in 3 weeks, and even though I don't have like a devising method, like I have books on that stuff. There's plenty of written out exercises. I'm confident that that's going to get taken care of. I trust the process now, and I trust my ensemble. That was the other thing, is that you learn how to give yourself over to the mask, the work, the ensemble. It's all demanded of you. Like there's no room for you as an individual artist anymore. You have to like give something of yourself, and I think that that's really neat and beautiful, and that's what I like to see in art. So those are my art thoughts. I'm really excited to see how it applies to my thesis work and what my thesis play ends up even looking like, because I don't know yet. I have a general idea of where I want it to go, but also my ensemble, I'm sure, is going to bring these beautiful, neat things to it that's going to make it really blossom, and I'm really excited to see what that does, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to instill some of the lessons that I learned at Del Arte to them, because I want to be able to help other people. Like, that's a big part of, like, my personality, is that, like, I want to help people and I want to teach people. I don't want to be a teacher. Let me strongly say that I do not want to teach. At least not, like, middle schoolers or high schoolers. Maybe college someday in the future, but probably not. But I want to help people, and I'm hoping that through working with an ensemble I'll be able to do that. So until next time, thanks for watching, blah blah blah. I don't know how to end videos. I'm really glad that you sat through 20 minutes of me talking. I've been thinking of, one of my friends said that I had a really good voice for ASMR, and I'm thinking of having, like, ASMR Mondays or something every now and then where I just, like, do an ASMR video, and to make this channel even more of a mess than it already is, and I think that's great. I think we should just go for it, because I'm really, at this point right now, doing this for myself so that I get practice talking, I get practice doing whatever else I want to do, and just because I want to make videos, and it's something that I've always wanted to do for a really long time. And she texted me there and was like, hey, I want to hear about your experience at Dollar Tree. And I was like, yeah, I know, I'm a terrible person, I never update my freaking channel. It's been a lot. Schedules are hard for me because I work so much, but we'll get there. We'll get better. I don't know how to end videos. I have a lot planned for this channel. I have a ton planned. It's just a matter of doing it. Yeah. I'm probably gonna make another video now because I've been watching a lot of, like, random YouTube, like, help videos because I'm that freaking nerdy. And they say that if you just, like, film all your videos all at once in one day, then you can just edit them and release them later. And I think that's a stellar plan. I might change my shirt so that I look slightly different. Tricky, tricky. So if you see two videos that are actually released, like, around the same time, it might have been filmed on the same day. Learned that one on the internet. I have no idea how to end this video, so, how do people end I never watch the ends of videos. Maybe that's why I don't know how to end them. Oh well. Bye. That I bought a bunch of merch, so I have this neat hat now. So that's cool. I'm part of the Del Arte fam. Look at that hat. I do like this hat. There's always things I forget. I'm a very forgetful person. I wish I could put it on my full face. It doesn't fit on my whole face. Now I look like a pirate. I don't know what that was. I'm sorry. Goodbye.